Disclaimer: everything that is discussed, posted, is strictly for educational and historical purposes only. It does not promote nor condone illegal activities. Killer Combines Red Victoria. On February 14, 2001, I had the honor and privilege to see the best female that has graced the face of this earth. In my opinion, and everyone who saw her live, come into this world. I gave her the name Red Victoria, which means red victory, and I could not have given her a better name, because she was the embodiment of the word victory. She was the foundation to Killer Combine's yard and entire program. She could not have had a more befitting birthday than Valentine's Day, because she was the love of my life in dog form. I will forever miss her, and I will see her again. Of that I am sure. They say that behind every good man there is a good woman. I have always thought that this statement should be, behind every good man there are two even greater women, his mother and then his wife. For without the first you could not have met the second. I have always also thought that it is no different with bulldogs. Mom is the main reason for their passion, not dad. And you must cross your good stock with a worthy female, or the results will not be pleasing and quality is sure to go down instead of up, which is the direction you should always try to head in life. They always refer to Vengeance Dog, and they completely obliterate his mother, as if she had nothing to do with his success. This upsets me to say the least. Red Victoria was a cross, not a pure midnight dog. Her mother Little Gift was one of the gamest females I have ever seen. And this is the reason why I picked there for the breeding with my Sage Vader dog. Little Gift was bred by one of the few kennels I truly respect and admire for being real and breeding their own always, the one and only Stone City Kennels. She was given as a gift to their friend, hence her name. I approached Little Gift's owner Matanza Boys Kennels and asked him if I would pay him $1,000. Would he let me borrow her for a breeding with my Vader dog? At the time I wasn't a rich man, so this was a big chunk for me, but worth it in my opinion. I had never bred Vader, and I wanted to breed him to a great female before his fourth. My space was limited, and I could not afford to hit or miss with a breeding. This was the way to go in my mind. You can't go wrong when you breed with gameness as your #1 priority. He also liked Vader, so he told me $700 and a pup, but I wanted them all and I stuck with my offer until he agreed. Thank God I did that. It was a moment of clarity. Vader died game, and Red Victoria was the only one that survived in the litter. I know for sure that she is and will always be the main reason for all of Vengeance's accomplishments, relentless style, and absolute gameness beyond words. To speak of her always brings a tear to my eye because she is and will forever be my favorite female hands down. Red, as I always called her, was the only one in a litter of 7 pups that made it to adulthood. Her sister and brother both died in a chain accident, but it's all good because, to be quite honest, Red was all I ever needed, and the proof is her son Vengeance, and what he has done for me and countless others. Some truly deserve and appreciate it, and some are better off forgotten for their ungratefulness and treachery. She was a handful from day one. I would always find her crawling away from her mom. 3 days after the birth, the pups began to die one at a time. After 4 of them had died, I knew something was severely wrong, so I called a good friend that was a vet, and he told me to take the remaining 3 pups from the mom because her milk was probably bad, and he gave me a homemade milk recipe to feed the remaining pups. He is now deceased, and I think I owe it to him to pass it down because he was a dog lover like us, and this will make him happy. It is simple but effective. 1 can of evaporated milk, 1 can of regular whole milk, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, 1 egg yolk, and a pinch of salt, then blend it. Red was unbearable. You could not pick up one of the other pups to feed them first because she would throw a fit. She always had to be the first to eat, and this never changed, ever. It was a no-brainer that she was my favorite, even though she was chocolate red-nosed, not black like her father Vader and the rest of the Midnight Clan. A friend at the time asked me why I preferred her and not the black ones. My answer was simple. I picked based on attitude, not color. History has proved me right on this issue. By the time she was 5 months old, she had a body count of chickens and whatever would come near her domain, including another pup about her age that belonged to my friend. This was a problem because I had her in a friend's farm, along with the rest of my dogs, and she overstayed her welcome there. Now I had to bring this maniac to an apartment and keep her hidden because at the time I was renting and not the owner of 300 acres here in Mexico, where life is beautiful for dog men and where all my dogs peacefully reside now. I thought for sure I was going to get evicted. Well, Red was so smart. It was like if she knew that she had to be cool there, and she was the best house dog you could ever ask for. I could only take her out at night, and she would not piss or poop in her kennel. After I would walk her, she would hang out in the house and sleep on the couch. The next morning, I would walk her again around 5 a.m., and then she would go in the kennel by herself. I would close the door, and until I came back at 5 p.m., she wouldn't even bark. By the time she was 1 year, my situation got a little better, and I bought a small farm. When I took her there, she went right back to being a hell raiser and the animal control officer at the property. It got to the point that I had to put her back on the chain. Well, she wore the chain down in 3 months, dug under the fence, and went on the first of her many killing sprees. A good neighbor called me, and I went to get her. I had no choice than to bring her back in the house and install locks on all the screen doors so she could not push them open. My house looked like Fort Knox. At 18 months, I was dying to check her, and when I did, she exceeded all of my expectations. All I had to do now was wait for an opponent. Her teeth were wore down from playing tug-of-war with her own chain. But I have always thought that pressure busts pipes, and she was a pipe specialist. Everyone told me I was crazy for taking her out with wore-down hardware, but I knew better. By the time she was 2, a friend contacted me that another friend had the one for her. A good daughter of Stan the Man. Out of respect for them, I will keep their names private because they don't enjoy the same freedoms and privileges that I do here in Mexico, and it could harm them. The ones that know the rest is nonsense. Well, when the day came, it was just us three. 2 real dog men, no corner men, and 1 good referee. We were so excited that after we started, we realized we had no buckets, water, or sponges. It was Iron Man football all the way. The way we looked at it, the better dog always wins regardless. Things went exactly how I thought they would. Red dominated from beginning to end, and the end came in 51 minutes. The buckskin could not go, and Red's courtesy looked like I had shot her out of a cannon. My friend that was refereeing said that she was the finest dog he had ever seen. This was a great compliment coming from a dogman of his stature that had seen dogs the likes of Mayday and Blackjack. After that, I made the best decision I have ever made in these dogs. I got rid of the rest of the yard and kept only her because they could not hold a candle to such an amazing dog. I also changed the kennel name from Godzilla Kennels to Killer Combine in her honor because that was what we were, a killer combination. I waited for her to come in heat so that I could start over with her. I took the trip by myself. When she was ready, I went to breed her to the only choice in my mind. My mentor and lifelong brother's dog, Midnight Jr., her grandfather. She had 6 pups and was a great mother. I kept 4 and sent 2 to a friend. I lost track of those 2. Out of the 4 that I kept, I gave 1 to an individual I thought was a friend, and he ruined him and let him die. Out of my 3, the female got bit by a rattlesnake, and although she killed the snake, she also died. I had 2 boys now. Midnight Express, who lost game because of an error on my part chasing a sponge when he was clearly winning by a landslide. My overseas friend bought him for me afterwards. The other is the incomparable, as I call him today, Vengeance. An old-timer told me once, the good ones always leave you with something great. How right he was. GR's Vengeance Ram would have never done any of what he has been able to do if he would have come out of any female besides Red Victoria, and that's a fact. In 2004, Red Victoria passed away when she jumped through the window to chase a raccoon she saw on the road. She got hit by a truck, and there was nothing I could do to save her. That was one of the worst days of my life, and it has taken me years to come to terms with it and accept it. The way I look at it now, she died being herself and doing what she loved. I want to go just like she did, game to the end and doing what I love. I learned many lessons from her. The rest is history and hearsay. Well, there you have it, folks. The story of Killer Combines 1XW Red Victoria.